Yes. Right then, lads. Welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. We are back again with another Arsenal show, with another Arsenal transfer episode. We're going to speak about Luka Jovic, that man on your screen already trying to score some goals. Luka Jovic, the Serbian, is there a deal in him? There are goals in him, we know that, but could Arsenal find their long-sought striker in Luka Jovic? Playing at Real Madrid is a very young striker. I'm going to try to dive into Luka Jovic's statistics and what I think he would provide Arsenal with, why I think he might be the right player, and why I think Arsenal should be taking advantage of Real Madrid's £25 million price tag. £25 million. Look, there are not so many strikers out there that are as good as Luka Jovic, and at 25 million. Because if you think about the likes of Dusan Vlahovic, you're tired of listening to the name, but I love pronouncing the name, so I'll pronounce the name until we get a striker. So Dusan Vlahovic, another one. I think Vlahovic is also from Serbia, is he? I think he's also from Serbia. He's playing at Fiorentina, and if you think about him, he's around 70 million. Around 70 million. If you think about the likes of Andrea Bellotti, I don't think Bellotti is good enough, but he might be around 50 million if you don't get him on a free in the summer. The likes of Erling Haaland, 70 million. So Arsenal is now looking for one of those damn cheap strikers. Can we find the solution in Luka Jovic? Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and obviously, let's get our simple party right about now started. Yes, all right then, lads. Let's get into Luka Jovic and let's get into the stories. Make sure you drop your thoughts in the comment box below, and drop a like on the video, and also make sure you do subscribe to the thing as well. This time I've come live at 9, like I did promise. So 9 should be the time we are always live. 9, 11, and 5 p.m. At times I do fail because of my internet, and because of the lighting and things like that. But I do promise 9 p.m., 5 p.m., and 11 a.m. should be the hours that we are always live on Cossy's Arsenal podcast. And I will always have a recap of what we've talked about in what should be kind of a race stream. So in this video, we're gonna speak about Luka Jovic and the stories that have begun to crop up more strongly. Very, very strongly, the Arsenal will and is much interested in getting the services of the Serbian striker from Real Madrid, signed from Frankfurt. If you look at your screen, right about now, you're going to look at a couple of goals that Luka Jovic did score at Real Madrid, a few at Real Madrid. But I think the most interesting part of his career has come during his time at Frankfurt. That is the most interesting part of his career, where he's scored more goals, where he's got involved in more games, where he's been a beast, where he's been such a talent. And that's why Real Madrid actually did sign him. There's a big question whether he is already a flop at Real Madrid. But look, guess what? Let me try to make this look quite well. Yeah, finally. So there is a big question whether Luka Jovic is already a big fat flop at Real Madrid, because if you look at players like Eden Hazard, actually ever since they sold Cristiano Ronaldo to Juve, there's a big question whether Real Madrid have signed in successful players. They brought in Hazard, it's not worked out. They brought in Luka Jovic, it's not worked out well. Who else have they signed? Maybe Alaba. I think Alaba will work for them, probably, and maybe Eduardo Camavinga. I think Camavinga will work out as well, because he's a generation talent. But I also think Luka Jovic is a generational talent. The fact that he's not clicked at Real Madrid doesn't take anything away from him being a good player, from him being a good striker, from him being able to find the back of the net. We've seen these things. Alexis Sanchez, but at Barcelona, he's dead. not absolutely dead, but he's not the kind of striker that he was at Udinese. Then he comes at Arsenal and boom, he becomes that kind of striker that is just over the top, and he scores the goals, he makes the assists, he makes the chances, and he's back on top. We've seen some more other players as well, the likes of Odegaard. I don't think Odegaard was a flop at Real Madrid. He failed to find game time at Real Madrid. But for me, that doesn't mean anything. He's come at Arsenal. If he settles in, he's gonna get the time at the playing time. If he settles in, we're gonna see again another brand of very, very good talent. That is getting game time. So one of the factors that he's not got, that he hasn't got, really able to click at Real Madrid could be the lack of game time. I don't know what you people think about this, but it could be the lack of game time, because if you look at if you look at his statistics in Germany, he's impressive. He's absolutely impressive. There is only one thing that we can blame Madrid for, is not giving him the game time that he deserves. He's a wonderful striker. I mean, no one can convince me otherwise, but no one can convince me otherwise that he's not a good striker. No one. I think Jovic is a very, very good striker. Very, very good striker. And look, the deal is, the story is that Arsenal want to get Luka Jovic from Real Madrid on loan in January. Something that I do not really understand there. Yeah, something that I really do not understand. So, okay, the way the deal could be structured is that we get him in January on a loan deal with an option or obligation to buy in the summer. Now, we've done this with a couple of players before, Cedric Soares, one of them, Pablo Mari, the other. I think Donny could have been the same if he had clicked, if he had done a good job at Arsenal. Don't think he really did a good job, and that's why we didn't sign him up. I think Matt Ryan wanted to play fast chase football. Arsenal didn't want him to do that. Apart from that, I think Arsenal could have taken him. So I think it's a good strategy. It's a good strategy because then you're able to bring in a striker that can develop with a team for 6 months, and you can and you can try to see what he likes, what he doesn't like, what he can do, what he can't do, so that by the time you splash your money, in the summer, the 25 million pounds or more, that it's over. Yes, it's less exciting, really. It's less exciting in the summer, signing a player on a permanent deal that has already been with you. It's less exciting. It doesn't have the kind of excitement in it. But look, I don't care about the excitement. I do care about the excitement. I love the excitement. I love the transfer excitement. But I think if we try out Jovic, whether that means Balogun leaves and Martinelli leaves and Edin Ketia leave in the January transfer window, for the moment I don't know that, because we have a couple of strikers that are not even getting game time. Balogun is not playing with under 23s, that is helping. Martinelli is not really a striker, but he's a forward and he needs game time. Then you have Eddie, a player for me that I think doesn't deserve the game time. Yeah, I mean, so many people are big advocates of Edin Ketia on how he can become a very, very world-class talent and things like that. I've never seen Edin Ketia as a generational talent. I don't know I don't know whether I'm wrong, people. You guys should let me know. I've never looked at Edin Ketia. I've never looked at Eddie as a generational wild talent to become. No. I've always looked at him as a humble player, a humble striker that will be very, very good for Hull City, Middlesbrough, Peterborough. If he plays in the Premier League, Norwich maybe. He could play at Brighton as well, because I think Brighton do need a striker. Yeah, but let's be honest. Eddie wants game time. He's made that very clear. He wants game time. And I'm going to ask myself, how many games has he played? And in how many games of those, how many games has Edin Ketia really clicked as a good striker? I mean, we've got to ask these questions. He's been on the scene not too long enough because he's just also developing as well, but he's got his chances, right? He's got his chances. And I've never had any Arsenal fans scream, bring on Eddie Nketiah, bring on Eddie Nketiah. We need Eddie Nketiah. I've never had any Arsenal fans scream that. Why? Because for me, I still believe, yeah, we want him to be good enough. He's our player. He deserves to be. He deserves the game time because he's at Arsenal Football Club. But is he good enough, really? Is he really good enough? I don't know. I don't know with Eddie. So the idea of another striker is absolutely tick for me. If Arsenal get that one done, look, we have a lot of time. Time is on our side for with a striker. Luka Jovic available. Dusan Vlahovic, you could get him on a free in the summer. Belotti, I'm still skeptical about Andrea Belotti. Really, really skeptical about Andrea Belotti. And I don't want him, honestly. I don't want him. But with the striker, we have a lot of options. But like our budget, we've got to go for the players that are less costly. Jovic is one of them. Madrid are saying, give us £25 million in the summer. Take him on loan in January. There is an obligation to buy. If he does well, of course, with obligations, it's not all about doing well. With obligations, you take him, you buy him. Simple. You take him, you buy him. Would I do an obligation of £25 million? Yes, no, yes, I would. I would take an obligation of £25 million on Luka Jovic. Because if I look around and I look for strikers that do have his pace, he's got the pace, his positioning is fine, I think he would really work for us. He would. His game involved. It's not an Olivier Giroud, despite the fact that Giroud was good as well for Arsenal Football Club. But he's not an Olivier Giroud. He's not just going to stand there, wait for the ball. He's going to hunt for the ball. His finishing is good, very, very good. I think he needs polishing, but he also needs a place where he is loved as a player. He needs to be, in that kind of situation. I don't know whether it makes sense, but it really makes a lot. If it would make a lot of sense if you if you were a woman. But let me tell you this: he did have a loan spell from Real Madrid to Frankfurt, and he did well. It did actually. If I still remember, on his debut, he did score a brace. If I've not really forgotten, on his debut, he scored a brace when he went back to Frankfurt. And I think the difference between the two places, Frankfurt and Madrid, is Jovic is loved in Frankfurt. We know that. That can't change. That doesn't go away. Jovic is loved in Frankfurt. He feels the love. He's the king of Frankfurt. When he goes there, he dictates the business. And I think if he came at Arsenal, just look at how Aubameyang is treated at Arsenal. If Jovic came at Arsenal and probably waited for 1 year for Aubameyang's contract to run down, I don't think Aubameyang is going to get a new contract unless he just blows up. It's the same thing with Alexander Lacazette. Offered a new contract, he says he doesn't want to sign it. It's his loss, isn't it? It's his loss. But what I'm trying to say is, if we brought in Luka Jovic, we can give him that kind of environment that is suitable for him. One, we have an under-23 side, so he's really going to fit in. He's going to come, if he signs for us in the summer, he's going to be 23, 24. And that is the same age bracket as Ramsdale, as Gabriel Magalhaes, as Ben White, as Tomiyasu, as Tierney, as Odegaard, as Smith Rowe, as Saka, and as Alba Sambi Lokonga. So that means almost the whole squad is his, at his age mates, right? The slighter difference that he has is he's got the experience, 24 years of age, 23, 24. He's played in Germany and scored a couple of goals. He's also been at Real Madrid. He's played at that top level. He's not been successful there, really. It's not been. But it's the same, I would think about it as the same move where we brought in Alexis Sanchez. I would want to say Mesut Ozil or Martin Odegaard. But I look at Martin Odegaard as a player who made his debut at Real Madrid at 16 years. I mean, it's not the same. It's not the same feeling. It's not the same feeling. But with Alexis Sanchez, it moves from Udinese. He's done it in the Italian area. Yes, they didn't win the league. So did Frankfurt. They didn't win the league as well. But Alexis Sanchez moves from Udinese, Calcio, to Barcelona, and things. Yeah, he scores a couple of goals, but he's not this Alexis Sanchez that we saw at Udinese. And United tried to sign him from Udinese. They also tried to sign him from Barcelona. Things didn't go well, and Arsenal somehow we pulled that off. My God, I can't forget that. I can't forget that feeling when Alex Sanchez is unveiled as as an Arsenal player, and he doesn't disappoint. I think that's one of the most interesting parts of it. He's unveiled as an Arsenal player, and he doesn't disappoint. Not at all. He doesn't disappoint. He's unveiled, and he absolutely does well there. Very, very well. So, people, we've got to agree. Luka Jovic needs some belief in him. If Arsenal are going to take him, if you're going to sign him up, we will need to give him the time to get his goal scoring boots and become the player that he wants to be. And then we need to give him the backing and the confidence that, look, you are a great striker. You can do this. I mean, and some Arsenal fans are not really good at that. They want the finished article. But I think that's the project that we are running. And the more I look at Luka Jovic and Arsenal, we fit together. We really, really do fit together. A striker that is looking for a place he can call home. He can't go back to Frankfurt because that is no longer his level, right? And now that's the problem. He can't go back to Frankfurt because that is no longer his level. His level is, at least if I go away from Real Madrid, can I play at Arsenal? But he's a good striker. His positioning is good in the air. I mean, he's got some, these are clips, but look at that. Just look at that goal. Just look at that goal. And that is him running with the ball. I just feel he's got the skill. He's got the right. I just feel he's a perfect striker for Arsenal. He's a perfect striker. I would compare him if I was to compare him with strikers in the league. Luka Jovic, I would compare him to Ole Watkins at Aston Villa. I think Watkins also has the same style. I wouldn't really compare him to Lukaku because Lukaku is more of a bully. But I think the perfect example we can equate him to is Raul Jimenez at Wolves. And look, I'm a big fan of both of them. I'm a big fan of Raul Jimenez, and I'm a big fan of Romelu Lukaku. But I think Luka Jovic is more of a Raul Jimenez, the kind of striker that draws his body to the center line, comes with a couple of defenders, and when he gets the ball, he doesn't hold it for you to arrive. He just stands and runs with the ball as you guys acquire numbers. I think we need that. Aubameyang has tried to do it in the past two games against Aston Villa and against Leicester City. And you've seen how much such a work rate really, really helps the team. Such a work rate really helps in attack because your striker is not dormant. Your striker is actually the beginning point, either in counter-attacking or you just want to build something. Your striker is active. So I think Luka Jovic is also that kind of striker. But the better strikers that do it well in the Premier League, you have Edson Cavani. He does it so well. You have I think Raul Jimenez does it well. Calvert-Lewin as well. I think Lewin does it well as well. Yeah. I think Lewin does it as well. Lewin does it very, 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 very well as well. So I think, look, people, let's say this. If you had a chance to sign Luka Jovic for Arsenal, would you take him? Yeah, there's so many Real Madrid players that we are linked with. We'll try to break them down. Luka Jovic is one of them. You have Marco Asensio. You have Donny Ceballos. You guys have already rejected Donny Ceballos. Probably we'll talk about Donny Ceballos in the morning. But with Luka Jovic, it's a bargain. It's one of the things I'm looking at, and I'm like, yeah, that could be one of the reasons. He's a bargain. He's a bargain, and who doesn't really love bargains? I do love bargains. Good evening, Cossy. How are you doing, Anu? Hope you're doing well. Hi, Cossy. Good evening. This is Franks from Anaka. Hope you're doing well as well. Honest says he's a fine player, but uh, party needs a helper. Right? Glenn says, I feel like Jovic's goals dried up after leaving Frankfurt. All right, I'm gonna speak about that. Gonna get back to that, Glenn. Good evening, Cossy. We need a backup. We play. It's saying when Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang leaves for AFCON, Nketiah would do well at West Ham. Look, I agree. I think Nketiah would do well at West Ham. I agree with that. I think Nketiah would do well at West Ham. Nketiah would do well at Brighton. Nketiah would do well at Crystal Palace as well. I think that is those are some of the teams where he needs to play his football. I mean, if Christian Benteke is playing there, Benteke, not disrespect to Benteke, but if Benteke is playing there, and Welbeck is playing at Brighton, you never know what could happen. Look, you never know what could happen. But back to Glenn, when Glenn says Luka Jovic's goals could have dried up, by the time he left Frankfurt. We could say the same thing about Timo Werner, right? We could say the same thing about Timo Werner, that their goals probably dried up when they left their parent clubs. But for me, the difference these players do have, and what I think is, they need places where they are kings. They need to play in areas where they are kings, right? Werner is so wasteful. Very, very, very wasteful. Very wasteful. It's different from Jovic. Because with Luka Jovic, and I'm not really going to say I've seen him play so many games, for Real Madrid, to try to justify the fact that he's not wasteful, or he is wasteful. But what I'm going to say with Jovic is, he's gone to a Real Madrid where Benzema is flying. Ever since Ronaldo left, Benzema has been at his peak. Benzema is the man. So Jovic is not as important, he's not as relevant as he was at Frankfurt. And I think there are players that are really affected by that. Honestly, there are players that are really affected by that. So maybe because just look at players like Felipe Coutinho and how he was relevant at Liverpool. When it goes to Barcelona, no, it's the system. If you don't follow the system, we are sorry. You can't be the big star here. You can't be the big man here. So for me, it's the same thing with Luka Jovic. Bring him on Arsenal and make him your point of focus, your focal point, or anything like that. I think he would really work out. He would really, really work out. So I don't believe his goals have dried up. I really don't believe his goals have dried up. I don't believe in that. Good evening, Cossy. We need a backup striker for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Yeah, I mean, that could be the reason as to why Arsenal is trying to look at a couple of options here and there. Try to look at Luka Jovic. Try to look at players A, B, C. Maybe to look at to try and see if we can get a backup for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Make sure you smash a like on the video, people. Make sure you subscribe as well. We will be having this show tomorrow as well at 9. Make sure you don't forget that. Jovic, I think is good talent. If anyone watched him at Frankfurt, we'll tell you. Look, and that is us being a little bit nostalgic. That is us being a little bit nostalgic. Because the question is between Jovic and Haaland, who do you take? You take Haaland. But if you asked me, Jovic at Frankfurt and Haaland at Salzburg, you know what most of us would say is, look, Jovic has played at a higher level in the Bundesliga, and the Austria Bundesliga is not at that level. So I think what Haaland is a player who went from Salzburg to Dortmund. He didn't have to make a very big jump, and I think he went in a place where he's appreciated and loved and treated as a king. From Frankfurt, I think Jovic should have moved to a club like Dortmund as well, or if not Dortmund, Leipzig. If you move from Frankfurt to Leipzig, maybe for 2 years, maybe it could have helped his career, because at times this big jump also really affects players. It really does. It really does. So I still think, I mean, if you're nostalgic like me, we could take him. We could take him. Hi, Cossy. Better we had a good run, but we need to do a bit, a bit more. Can't disagree with that. Let's get him and give him a chance. That's Anu, and says Jovic is a good player. We need him. The price is also okay. Yeah, and that for me, that is one of the things that are really attracting me to look at Jovic. The price is absolutely generous. Who does that? Come on, Real Madrid. Who does that? Right? Who does that? Just, 25 million pounds. We could pay that. I mean, we are not good at paying money in the market, but 25 million pounds, we could pay that. We are good. We are good to go. We could just pay that. But anyway, look at Jovic, guys. Link with Arsenal. Your comments in the, your comments should be left in the comment box, and then let's speak about our man, the next on the next in line, Donny van der Beek. All right, guys. So it's time to speak Donny van der Beek. The video is brought to you by H&S Gamers. So if you're in Uganda and you love to be, you love gaming, you love to play Mortal Kombat, you love to play PS 5, FIFA 22, FIFA 21. Make sure you check out H&S Gamers. They are located in Makerere University. Makerere Chikoni, not Makerere University, but Makerere Chikoni. So make sure you do check them out. They're sponsoring our videos throughout this month. Make sure you do check them out. Please make sure you check them out. And make sure if you want to play career modes with me, I've been invited to play career modes there, and I'm still trying to arrange my career mode so that I can actually start playing with them. So you can also play your career mode at H&S Gamers. Right. So let's get into Donny van der Beek, and that will be the last part of the video. Honestly, people, what are your honest thoughts about Donny? What are your honest thoughts about Donny? Donny van der Beek has been linked with Arsenal, and I'll try to expand on this video later on. But what are your thoughts on Donny van der Beek joining Arsenal? What are your real thoughts about Donny joining Arsenal? Because there are a couple of segments to digest there. One is Manchester United saying, no, we don't sell Donny to Arsenal. The other, though, is Arsenal getting their perfect midfielder. Donny van der Beek, the perfect midfielder. I think that should be our headline tomorrow in the Super Arsenal podcast. That should be our headline in the Super Arsenal podcast. Donny van der Beek, the man, the perfect Arsenal midfielder. Because for me, look, I know it's one of those very hard switches to make. One of those very hard deals to make. But Van Persie moved from Arsenal to Manchester United. I still remember that deal, right? Donny can't move from Manchester United to Arsenal. They do not use him. He wants game time. They cannot provide game time. Ole is going to be at the wheel for some time. And we know Ole is not a big fan of Donny van der Beek. So, perfect timing, perfect opportunity, perfect deal, perfect player for Arsenal. Look, we are not, deal makers, are we? We are really not deal makers. So let us take this away from how the deal would run, because we that is not the most enjoyable part of the deal. The most enjoyable part of the deal is Donny van der Beek raising shirt number. Which shirt number could he put on? Which shirt number? I don't know. Is 8 taken at Arsenal? Yeah. Odegaard puts on 8. How about 11? Is 11 taken? The hell, does anyone put on shirt number 11 at Arsenal? I doubt. Martinelli 35. I think no one puts on shirt number 11 at Arsenal, unless I've forgotten. So, Donny van der Beek, shirt number 11 at Arsenal. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Because for me, what I like about Donny is not only the fact that he loves going forward and creating more chances and scoring, but he is a talent that Arsenal do not have in their midfield. They do not have. Uh, Eric says maybe shot number 29. All right. I don't think United will release him to Arsenal. I mean, I said let us look away from that, right? Because if we look at if we look at Sarge, then there's no point in talking about Danny Van de Beek. But he would add a lot to the Arsenal side. I would sacrifice Abasam Lokonga and I would sacrifice Granit Xhaka to have Donny Van de Beek play every minute of his fitness at Arsenal. Because for me, I think he does what Xhaka does, but even better. For me, Partey does not give us that kind of creativity that we are forcing him to do. No. Partey is actually a box-to-box midfielder that loves passing, the ball in the wings, passing the ball, around and having his influence felt on the pitch. But you need that deep-lying midfielder that really creates chances. That's Donny for you. That's Donny. And I'm not really surprised he's come out and said he wants to play as a 10. I'm not really surprised because he knows how much he creates. He knows how much he would be fancying to play in that number 10 role. If you brought him an Arsenal, we'll play him in a 4-4-2, or we'll play him in a 4-3-3, where you have him, Partey, and maybe Xhaka or Odegaard playing in a midfield three, and then you have three forwards with Smith Rowe, Saka, and Aubameyang or Luka Jovic or Lacazette or whoever. So he brings a couple of things on the table: creativity from deeper areas, and he can also dictate the tempo of the game. He can't do that. I think he's another player that needs to feel important. He's another player that needs to feel I'm loved. He's another player that needs to feel I'm important, I'm relevant. The team needs me. My team needs me. At Manchester United, he's not getting that. He doesn't feel like his team needs him. He doesn't feel like he's loved at United. He feels like a second option. His quality, you don't treat him like a second option. A second option. He looks at Fred. He's better than McTominay. Deep down, he knows that. He's better than Fred. Deep down, he knows that. He should be competing with Paul Pogba. And him, himself, looking at Pogba on the bench, it's just frustrating. Because if Pogba is on the bench, he knows his chances of playing for Manchester United this season, even in the coming season, are less and less. So a couple of clubs are interested. Arsenal have been reportedly interested. With 27 million pounds, that won't do the trick. I'm telling you. 27 million pounds, that won't do the trick. I think it should be around 45 to 50 million. 45 to 50 million. But we could get him on a free loan deal in January, and maybe try to negotiate our way around the deal. Because look, I don't expect Arsenal to sign in 5 more players in the summer. That would be mad. I expect only 2 players. Only 2 players in the summer. And that should be a central midfielder. And then, because, with attacking midfield, I would love a player there. But with Odegaard and Smith Rowe, I doubt Arsenal will add another player. So it's going to be a central midfielder and then a striker. 2 players, 2 positions that we should be looking at in the summer. Go for Donny. Get Donny Van de Beek. Yes, United fans will scream, Eddie, Woodward out, things like that. But deep down, Arsenal know if you get a player like Donny, you have gold in the bank. What are your thoughts on Donny Van de Beek, though? I would really need to know. Right? I really need to know. Okay, let's get this done. 11 is free. Yeah, 11 is free. 11 is free. Shot number 11 is free at Arsenal, and I would definitely give him shot number 11. Please be respectful. This is Noel. Let me just block the user. Right? I think that will do the trick. Okay. Right. Paul says he will push for a move. He's not getting game time. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he doesn't get game time, he doesn't get game time at Arsenal, sorry, at Manchester United, is a real key factor. Real key factor. Right. Even if he plays with everyone in our midfield, even he plays with everyone in our midfield. So look, if you get Donny and Luka Jovic, it's not complete yet. It's not complete yet. But I think with Luka Jovic, you have a striker that can stand, right? A player that can stand among the top 10 strikers in the league. Donny van de Beek, you have a central midfielder that can stand among the top 10 in the league. I mean, if I don't go for Donny van de Beek, I could go for Yuri Tillemans. But the problem with Tillemans is he's going to be overpriced. He's going to be overpriced. He's a very good player. He dictates play. He's another one that really dictates play. But he's always going to be overpriced. He's always going to be overpriced. Something like James Maddison. So Donny would do the trick for me. Absolutely. Donny would do the trick. I mean, back in the day, Ajax, and the day of Ajax, Donny is a good player. We can go for him. He needs play. Look, not even at Ajax, not even in the days of Ajax, I still think Donny van der Beek is a very good player. Donny is a very good player. If he gets the love, if he gets the playing time, if he gets to dictate and decide where he wants to play, no question, Donny is a world-class player. So guys, that does the trick. That does the trick for us. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you tomorrow at 11 a.m.